Josh, and this episode is brought to you by Great Lakes Disc. Whether you're looking for cool new gear or your new favorite disc, Great Lakes Disc has what you need. Click the link tree link, and you'll see the Great Lakes Disc link. Click that to start your shopping today. While you're on the DSP link tree, you will also see a link for Idio Sports. If you want to take your game to the next level, make sure you get Idio shoes on your feet. The only disc golf shoes made by disc golfers for disc golfers. Also use discount code disc.seeker to save money on your next order. Whew. Without further ado, I'll let my guest fully introduce himself, where he is from, and where his disc golf journey actually begins.
Yeah, happy to be here. My name is Jonathan Reboton. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA, where I'd like to call Pittsburgh kind of a secret hideaway for disc golf. It's not like a mecca for disc golf like Virginia or Charlotte or anything like that. But we got plenty of great courses, both for beginners and high level players. And yeah, so I've been playing disc golf for about 4 years now, 5 years. So I'm a COVID boy. I got into disc golf during COVID. I was hopping on Discord to play video games with my buddies, and they were just watching Jomez, and I was just like, what do we got going on over here? And they were like, it's disc golf, you'll love it. and I I watched like 20 minutes of it, and I was just like, all right, when are we going? And they were like, we're actually going tomorrow, and I was like, I'm in. And that was all she wrote from there. Um, yeah.
That's really cool. Do you remember what like your first ever round was like?
I was real cocky at the beginning, just because, uh, like many people, I came from Ultimate.
Ooh.
I played Ultimate for about anywhere between 12 and 14 years before, and I for somehow never even heard of disc golf. Uh, so probably because I was doing like all sorts of other sports on top of Ultimate. But then I walked up and I was like, I'm a pretty good Ultimate player. I think I'll be pretty good at this. I threw my first disc. My buddy handed me I think it was an Innova Thunderbird. So he set me up for failure because I threw it just like an Ultimate disc, so lots of hyzer, and you can imagine the rest. Basket was that way, disc went that way. So
And right from there, you were probably hooked.
yeah, no, for sure. I'm the type of person who loves it, who loves a challenge. If I'm not good at something, it'll bother me until I'm at least moderately decent. So
Yeah. So from being from PA, have you ever ran into Gary, who's always on Foundation podcast now?
I actually have not. What's his last name?
I'm not even sure what his last
Not
name is,
sure.
to
Was
be honest with
okay.
you.
Yeah, no, I don't, I'm not super familiar with him. Um, the disc golf community in Pittsburgh's a little is kind of tight knit. We're very open to like bringing in new players, we're doing our best to like grow the sport where we are. Um, but it is a little tight knit, so sometimes it can be hard for people who aren't as uh, outgoing like myself to like really break in. Uh, I have no issues like bugging you, like, hey, where can I play? You want to play disc golf? You want to go with me to do this? Like, where are the tournaments? Where's the leagues? What's going on here? So
Yeah.
yeah, but not everybody's like that. So if you like didn't know like or didn't like ask people, it might be tough to get that information, but we're definitely working on that. We do have a Pittsburgh disc golf community Facebook page, as well as a Discord for the Pittsburgh disc golf community, to try and get that information out there for anybody who wants and or needs it. Course schedules for tournaments that are happening, and just and leagues that you can join and whatnot. So it that's just obviously the biggest hurdle anywhere is just getting people to get into it and be a part of the community.
Yeah. So speaking of leagues and tournaments, what do you play more of? More tournaments, or are you more of a league guy?
I definitely play more tournaments just because I work full time and I have two little ones, so my time is very limited. So
Mhm.
I get out there for practice rounds whenever I can, and try and get out there to film some stuff, and that doesn't leave much room for like leagues on Wednesday or like anything like that. But my weekends are free, so hello tournaments.
Yeah. So, filming stuff. Do you film yourself practicing, or just make some content for YouTube?
So I've been working on so I used to just go out and like film like an idea, and nobody tells you like whenever you do that, sometimes you'll walk away with nothing. Like you'll look back and you're like, what did I do all day? none, none of this looks good. Like what was I doing the whole time? um and that's just the behind the scenes of trying to create content, and you got to be consistent with it too, which is tough whenever you have so much going on. But I'm a firm believer that I can make it work. But then so I've started taking like the advice of some other people out there where they're just like, just film everything, something will come up and you can just put it out there. And I'm like, all right. um, but it, as a like, so I'm 27 now. Back in like middle school, high school, college, like so I basically just ignored social media because it was just a bunch of nonsense to me, a bunch of nonsense, people posting stuff that I didn't care about. And then getting into disc golf and with my aspirations within disc golf, like I was like, ah, shoot, I need to do social media. That sucks.
Yeah, that was probably like a major cram of less of learning how to do social media work.
Yeah, no, and it definitely isn't easy whenever you've been like basically a shut in for your entire life.
Yeah. So, how much practice time do you get, and what does your practice actually look like? Because I imagine you've done a lot of practicing between when you started to the level that you're playing at now.
Yeah, for sure. So it only took me about 6 months to a year to realize that I like really wanted to go after like doing disc golf, potentially as a career and stuff. So um, my first year, I was just out there playing like all the time because I was a junior or senior in college, so I had all the free time in the world. Um, Whether or not my professors would agree with me, uh, I was out there, and especially since it was COVID too. During COVID, uh, classes were just online, and so I could just tune in on my phone while I'm on the course. Um, don't tell anybody I did that. Um, but yeah, no. So that I played all the time there. But then as I kind of saw my ambitions kind of form, I started to like focus in on practicing. So like I would play, I noticed like where my deficiencies were, and so I would like mainly focus practicing there. And then I noticed that whenever I would practice like super hardcore one thing like putting, I'd lose other things like my upshots or like my drives would take a hit because I was completely ignoring them because I was like, all right, these are fine. So now let's just focus on this. So you just got to learn how to balance it all. Like obviously if you're like really bad at one thing, focus on getting that to a certain level, but then you do eventually have to kind of break back into everything else to kind of be an all-around solid player.
Yeah. So, how much field work do you do, and like, what do you do for your field work? Just go to open field and just throw, or do you have? like a target you throw to, or play a game?
Yeah, so I try and get field work in whenever I can. Obviously, it's hard sometimes with like weather being
Hmm.
finicky, especially out here in Pittsburgh. You never know what it's gonna do. It could be 70 one day, and then it's like, oh hey, like get ready, put your coats on. It's gonna be below 30, and I'm like, what do you mean it's April? So you gotta work around that. But I try and go at least do field work at least once a week, because then I'm also doing one round after work during the weekdays, and then usually one round during the weekend. Um, and so I sometimes I use those as like my field work days where it's like I'm not actually playing around. I'm just going to like throw and practice
Hmm.
certain shots. Like just I'll throw only putters just to kind of hone in that or uh, putters and go. I'll go to a course specifically that's like for beginners and just throw nothing but putters and mid ranges. Um, but my favorite place to do field work uh, is football fields, just
Hmm.
because I love that everything is like measured. So you
Yes.
know exactly how far you're throwing. Um, and sometimes my father-in-law, he'll come down with me because he's taken an interest in disc golf, uh, but like not to any like crazy degree like me.
Yeah.
But and so like I'll try and incorporate him so he's not just standing there watching me throw or like whatever. So we came up with a game essentially where he comes up with a target for me to hit, and I have two opportunities to hit it. Um, Otherwise, I got to do a lap around the track or something like that.
Ooh.
So, uh, so like examples are like there will be like a lacrosse goal that's all the way on the like other 40 or 30, and I have
Hmm.
to put it like within 10 feet, or I have to get it. Uh, on the opposite 20 or within the end zone on the other side. There was one time he told me to try and hit the crossbar, and as you can imagine, I was running laps. So that's a fun little game that we like to play, and it's really good for like trying to like dial in your touch. Um, for the most like for someone like me, so I'm lucky where my ultimate uh kind of experience has helped me like I have pretty good distance. I haven't really needed to practice in order to get more distance. It's just been there. But
Yeah.
it's all about like accuracy and touch at that point. So that game or that kind of practice is really good for touch and accuracy, which is really important on like non-park courses, even park courses,
Yeah.
all courses. It's good all around. What am I saying?
So since you have like previous sports backgrounds before you got into disc golf, do you feel like being athletically in shape and like training, like running and weightlifting, do you feel like that benefits you at all when you're playing rounds?
Yeah, I'd say so. Just because especially in Pittsburgh, a lot of these courses are just so hilly, so up and down, and so you need a lot of endurance to make it through. So especially whenever you play tournaments that are 2 rounds in one day,
Hmm.
um, early on in my even now, some depending on the course, I notice that it doesn't matter how well I can throw. It's like, oh, I can throw well when I'm not like gasping for air. Uh, so so I noticed about a year or two ago that I would kind of I would kind of duck out around uh, with like after a round and a half, and then all of a
Yep.
sudden like my score just wasn't. I couldn't get birdies. I was just getting bogeys or like I was just falling, and I was like, what is going on? I'm better than this. and it took me a second to realize it's like it's because I'm tired. It's because I'm like dripping with sweat and I'm exhausted. So you just got to make sure, like, one, to stay hydrated, um, and make sure you have like good food in you to, like, because a lot of the courses have like a McDonald's or like Wendy's next to it, and you just got to not do that. You got to do your best to not
Yeah.
not go for that fast food, because even if they have like healthier options, it's not a good option. Um, but so yeah, definitely, like, people who are like who do other sports, um, know what I'm talking about. You have, like, you've worked on endurance, how to like work through that and like gain that endurance in order to out outlast your like competition and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, by being in shape, it allows you to be like competing at your prime level longer.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna get tired though, even the pros. You can tell.
Yeah. So, when you're preparing for a tournament, what's the major thing that you focus on when getting ready for a tournament?
Yeah. So the thing I love to do during, like, to prep for a tournament, uh, is my music. I love just putting on a good playlist, uh, and just really like kind of like letting loose, not really thinking about. I don't tend to think about, um, the round or anything until I'm literally standing on the tee pad, just because. Uh, I'll overthink things. I have ADHD, and so I'm a bit of an overthinker. And once I go down a rabbit hole, it's just not good for the mental game.
Yep.
So it's best to just be able to relax and just hang out and like, with good vibes until you're ready to start.
Yeah. So the morning of a tournament, like how early are you getting there before a tournament, and are you stretching, putting, hanging out? What are you doing?
Um, it depends. So it depends on how far away the tournament is and everything. Um, I've been trying to get up at 5 a.m. every day for the last like year or so. And last year, like, it really helped me, be more awake, for tournaments and be more ready for them. Um, but that's also out of necessity because, like I said, I have a couple kiddos and my wife,
Hmm.
so I prep their meals before I leave for the day, uh, and then, uh, I make myself a little something just to get me to lunch, and then I head out and I try and get there at least 30 to 40 minutes early. Um, Unless, and this is a funny story, unless I don't read the email that the the tournament director sends. Um, it's kind of embarrassing, but there was one tournament last year where I got there at like 8:15 or like 8:20, and I was like, all right, got plenty of time to like stretch, get a few putts in, and maybe get some throws in. Uh, I walk up to the check-in desk, and he's like, it's like, all right, yeah, don't forget, tee off is at 8:30, and I was like, 8:30? You mean I have to leave right now, right now to get to my tee pad? Um, so tea times are usually, 9 a.m., but this tournament it was 8:30. I didn't see that on the email. I didn't really. I wasn't paying attention. I was just, and that was on me. It was a lapse in focus.
Yeah.
But I was running. After that, I was just like, oh. But yeah, my routine before a tournament, I like to do a little light stretching, and just kind of wake the muscles up. And I mostly just putt and get a few throws in, but I don't like to overdo it because that's when I kind of overthink things, or
Hmm.
with too many reps, I notice too many things that are off, and then I'll try and fix them during a round. That's not what I want to do. I want to putt and get that, like, if that feeling where it's like that was what I want to replicate all the time. Once I get that a couple times, I'm like, all right, just do that, and we'll be good.
Yeah. So, I picked up on this that nutrition's very, very big to you, huh?
I mean, yeah, I'm a big eater. I love eating, and it's just and with with my ambitions with disc golf, and even whenever I was like playing soccer back in college and high school and everything else, um, I just noticed that some people can do it where they can like skip breakfast and make it
Oh,
through 6 a.m. practice and do their 2 mile run and everything, and I'm just like, no, I'll die. I
yeah,
will not. I will like be like crawling on the ground during practice if I don't get like at least a somewhat of a proper meal. um, and I try and eat well, but obviously I have my bad habits, just like everybody else.
yep.
But you know,
So, do you have like a quick nutrition tip for any listener that's looking to like maybe improve their nutrition like intake right before a tournament?
um, let me think. I mean, there's so much you could do. I guess the one thing is eggs. Eggs are OP. They're so overpowered. Like just huge boost in protein. They're very filling, and the it'll give you energy like that lasts. Versus like a bowl of cereal, like that's just like carbs and sugar that is gonna dissipate like that on the
Hmm.
course. Um, and eggs you can have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, like and they're really good. So
Yeah.
eggs.
So and then to build off of that, what do you suggest for like a lunch for in between rounds? That way, when you get back out there, you're not like too bloated, too like oh like I just want to take a nap.
Yeah. My favorite go-to is just like a ham sandwich with like nice bread, nice cheese, and like a piece of lettuce or like some veggies on it, uh, and like a nice spread if you like that. Some people like dry sandwiches. I see the appeal. But like sandwiches are, I love sandwiches. I could I always say like if I could have one superpower, it'd be to snap and just have a sandwich appear in my hand.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, for me, I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or tuna fish sandwich in between
Yeah,
rounds.
yeah. Peanut butter is a good source of protein, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So how long did it take you to go from beginning like lower amateur division all the way up to where you are now of the pro division?
Yeah, so I've been playing for about 4 to 5 years. My first year, I didn't do like any tournaments or anything. But like I think at the end of my first year, into my second year, I did some like goofy, like some of those goofy little tournaments, like
Mhm.
mystery bag tournaments, like doubles where they have like weird little rules and stuff that apply. Um, and so then after that, in like from during my second to third year, I started doing tournaments. And I think I started in MA3 because MA4 wasn't I don't think MA4 was a thing. Uh, or at least not a thing that like was very common in all of the tournaments. So I did MA3 and I got my first win uh, in MA3 like within like a few months, and so then I like went up to MA2 and stayed there for the rest of the year. And then I was, going back and forth whether I go to MA1 or MA2, and I was just like, hey, I play better I play better whenever I have a challenge. Um, so let's just bump up to MA1 and see what it's about. Uh, and so I went up to MA1, and I've been there for the last couple years, and in Pittsburgh, at least, the difference between MA1 and MPO is not negligible, but it's pretty negligible. Obviously, some of the like higher pros in the area are way more consistent than like your average MA1 player, but that's not the whole like MPO field. Um, I'd say like the top like 50% is pretty consistent, but then that lower 50% can go, either way.
Mhm.
Uh, where it's like, that someone in MA1 could be, doing better than half the MPO field. Because here, MA1 and MPO play the same tees almost all the time.
Okay. Because up here in Buffalo, MA1 does one round whites and one round blue, and MPO just plays blue, and then you got MA2 and MA3 that just play whites.
Yeah. So it's it's pretty tournament based around here. Some tournaments they'll do that where it's like you'll get one round on the white tees and one round on the blue tees.
Okay.
But then other rounds it's just like you're just playing what the pros are playing, but in your own little division over there.
Yeah.
um, so yeah. I kind of bounce between MA1 and MPO right now. Uh, I play MPO to try and challenge myself, like play
Mhm.
with these guys who are like more consistent than me, better than me, see what I can like learn and take from them. Um, but sometimes the MPO field isn't doesn't fill up. And there's just like there's 25 guys in MA1 and like four guys in the MPO division. So I'm like, let's go play MA1 then, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes it also comes down to money. It's like, oh, like register for MPO. It's like $75, or you could play MA1 for 45, and I'm like, that's that's $30. I might just go play MA1.
Yeah. So, what do you think the one key thing that you did to get yourself from lower AMs to where you're now able to bounce between MA1 and MPO?
Definitely my putting. I work like I said, I worked on it like to a fault, essentially, where like my other aspects of my game kind of took a hit. But it was worth it, honestly, because it doesn't matter how good at driving I am. It doesn't matter how good my upshots are. If I take two strokes within 30 feet of the basket, I'm taking the same score or worse as the next guy who didn't doesn't have as much distance as me or like had a bad upshot, but I'm still getting the same score because I can't putt. So and like I believe Calvin Heiberg said this. You can be pretty average at everything, but if you're like a god tier putter, you can make it on the pro tour.
Yeah.
That was obviously like a few years ago. The competition in the pro tour is obviously skyrocketed, and so who knows how like true that is anymore. But I still take it to heart where it's like you can be average at everything else and just be really good at putting, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So, who are the pros that you look up to?
Uh, I'd have to say Calvin Heimberg. Um, just because he's that very like quiet type where you don't know what is going on with him until like the big thing happens, and it's really good to see him get a few wins last year. Just to see that emotion out of him is really huge. um everybody loves that guy who is just like, oh, that guy's just like way too cool for this. Like he's too cool and calm and collected. um but then you also have people on the opposite side of the spectrum that I admire, like Matt Oram. He
Yep.
wears his emotions on his sleeve. Not even on his sleeve. It's on a postcard. He sends you his
Oh yeah.
emotions. You know what's going on with him. Uh, and you gotta admire that. And so yeah, those are a couple guys uh, I definitely look up to, and obviously I feel like everybody's a big fan of like Simon Lazat, and I'm a big fan of Eagle McMahon. I'd be more of a fan if they weren't with MVP, but
Yeah.
that's that's something else. I'm personally not. I don't throw any MVP. I just, whenever I'm choosing like a disc or a like, manufacturer, it's all about the feel, and I can't get over like the overmold, or
Yeah.
like their plastic is like really sleek
Yeah.
versus like people like Discraft and like Discmania. Their plastic, they have their premium plastics, but they're not like that smooth.
Yeah. So what are you throwing? Like what's actually in your bag?
So in my bag, so I mostly, um, so I throw mostly Discraft,
Okay.
I was in the beginning, I was just looking for any and all discs, but then I just realized like this doesn't feel good in my hand. This doesn't like feel consistent. I don't know about this, and every time I picked up a Discraft disc, I was like, this just feels like so natural in my hand. Um, and I can attribute that maybe to like my ultimate days, because they basically run the market with the ultra stars and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
um so maybe it's that. But then I also have a sprinkle of Discmania in there. I love I love Discmania just because they're such a like they're fun without being like super obvious about it. uh, I don't, I just I love what they come out with, and their discs just feel like really good in my hand, similar to Discraft. Um, and they just put out good discs. Like one of my favorite ones from them is one of Simon Lazotte's like last signature runs, which is his Mindbender. I love that disc. It's second only to the Buzz, but that's just because it's just too flippy.
Yeah. So do you throw any type of trilogy at all? Have you ever tried trilogy?
Yeah, I've tried. Uh, I've tried pretty much every manufacturer, at least a little bit. Um, Other than some of the more niche ones, um, and it's just like I said, it's just like a feel thing. It's a preference thing. There's not always like 100% logic behind it. It's just you grab something, you have it in your hand, and you're throwing it, and you're like, that didn't that didn't feel good, and you try it again, and it's just like it's just not like maybe it's me, maybe it's the disc. I don't know, but it's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever try like a felon by any chance?
From Dynamic, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would
I've tried Felons before.
What'd you think?
I thought it was a pretty good disc. I The ones I tried were a little too, maybe it's just because I got new ones and they were just like real beefy, for whatever reason, but um, they were just a little too stable. I couldn't like get them as straight as I wanted them to.
Yeah. For what I've noticed is like cuz I throw felons a lot. I noticed the sake bomb felons are way more accurate than normal felons because normal felons you either have they're too flippy, too overstable, or like they don't glide enough. Whereas
Yeah,
sake bombs, they were the most consistent and like perfect, so you'd be able to get the same flex on every single one of them. That's what I've noticed. I'm not sure if like Discraft discs are have a similar thing or if that's just like a dynamic disc thing.
yeah. I don't. So I mean, obviously, there is that. Uh, Kind of, what's the word, that like connotation where it's like, oh no, flight numbers don't mean anything because every run of disc is different. um and I'm a firm believer against that, where I look at the flight numbers, that gives me a good like idea. uh and so, the flight numbers give me a good idea what the disk is capable of, but then also, you can't look at the flight numbers and automatically just take them as gospel or as law.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to look at the disk. If it's very domey or if it's like very flimsy, then it'll probably be a little more flippy. Um, you know, so those like people saying that it's probably coming from they're only going based off of one thing, and it's like, oh, destroyers are supposed to be like super overstable, and it's like not all of them. Like
Yeah.
they're different. The pros do their signature runs because they tweaked the disc. It's still the same disc, the same mold, but they did it to their specification because that's how they like it, and
Yeah.
that's what they're sharing with us.
Yeah. Not sure if you can see that comment, but it says that you need an anvil.
I need an anvil.
Yep.
What
That's the best approach disc you'll ever
yeah,
find.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah. So, I was on your Instagram obviously today checking things
Mhm.
out, and I seen your Minecraft disc golf. So what's that all about? Like, the only experience I ever had with Minecraft was when me and my cousin went on my little cousin's account. We blew up his whole city, and he couldn't
Yeah.
stop it from blowing up. So
Yeah. Yeah, so my I I'm a big fan of Minecraft. I was into it in high school, and just like a lot of people out there, you put it down for a year, you pick it back up for a month, and then you put it back down for a year, and you pick it back up. Um, and so they say like try and find a niche or whatever, whenever you're building your following or your account and branding. And whenever I first started posting on Instagram and stuff, I kind of wanted my niche, like I wanted to combine my two passions, uh, which are video games and disc golf, and obviously Minecraft isn't perfect for doing that, and obviously there's like Disc Golf Valley and like those other games that are out there that are literally disc golf video games. Um, but I have fun with like the challenge of like taking video games, and it's like how can I relate this to disc golf, and how can and like that helps me, especially like with big games like Minecraft. People who have never heard of disc golf, might see my video and be like, I'm into Minecraft, but what the hell's disc golf?
yeah,
Um, and so they'll look it up. Then they might try it, and then you never know. And like so that's just part of growing the sport as well. Um, and that's kind of where it came from. Minecraft was definitely like the easiest game to kind of bring disc golf into it, where it was also just a popular game that everybody knows it. If
yeah.
they s- if somebody says they don't know what Minecraft is, they either don't have anybody in their life who's younger than 20 or 30, or they're like over the age of like 80.
Yeah, my train of thought was maybe this is a starting of like something where you can like make a test simulator, like where you can where when people want to design a course, they can simulate the course on like a video game, and then people can check it out and then make tweaks to it, and then when it comes time to make the course in real life, it's like already set and there's no adjustments that need to be made.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's definitely something that like Disc Golf Valley is kind of like getting into, where one of my local courses, Knob Hill disc golf course, one of our locals just designed it in Disc Golf Valley, and you can play it. You can actually go into Disc Golf Valley, and they say like everybody that's around in the community who's played it says it's very true to the real thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So
So what are your goals for this year?
my goals are just to win as much as I can, and I don't know any, like I know there are those people out there who like go to tournaments to have fun, and or like, oh, like this is a players pack that I really want. Um, I've never been one to go into anything where it's like, oh, I just want to shoot better than my rating. Um, in my head, I'm like, Well, you know how to shoot better than my rating? A win.
Yeah,
um, but that definitely is that also is a goal of mine. So right now I'm only about 929 rated. Um,
that's pretty
and
good.
with my ambitions to hit the pro tour before I'm 30, um, I need that to be higher because obviously, like, I'm not getting into tournaments, with that low of a
Yeah,
rating, with so many people like snagging up these spots, and the tiered registration and everything. So I need to be more consistent. That's what I attribute to like my rating being so low is, one day I'll be shooting like 950, like 960 or like rounds, and then out of nowhere I'll just like plummet and shoot like an 870 round, and so then
that's me.
that evens out to about 925 to 930.
Yeah,
um and so I just need to be more consistent. So that's definitely a goal of mine as well, is to improve my consistency, so that I can improve my rating. um, and then on the social media side of things, uh, I want to, develop a routine so that I can again be more consistent with posting and everything. And hopefully by the end of the year, I can get to 1,000 followers on my Instagram, uh, or YouTube or TikTok. It doesn't matter. 1,000 followers on any platform would be, everything.
yeah.
You have these people who like have hundreds of thousands of followers, and yes, they're very appreciative, but like as someone who is, I'll say it, I'm a nobody right now. But I got the ideas, I have the ambition, and so I'm gunning. So
Nice.
1,000 by the end of this year would be, incredible for
That'd be
me.
legendary.
Yeah.
I'd be pumped. I would be cheering you on. Like, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Are there any other goals? Yes, I think just that, like, getting my rating up as much as I can and winning as much as I can, and consistency for this year. I have lots of other like kind of overhanging goals like that are, uh, span over the course of a few years. But that's just what I got to focus on right now because I'm not going to be able to do the things that I want until I'm higher rated, and more consistent.
yeah. So, do you have any questions for me?
Um, yeah. So I think we were talking before, and you said you were doing this. You've been doing this for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what are some things that like you've learned in that year? Because I'm sure,
Oh, I
everybody
learned a
says
lot.
that first year is everything. You learn a lot, and you go through the trenches.
Yeah. So when I first started the show, I didn't have this background. I had my track trophies and a whole bunch of random stuff in the background. That was an
Ra-
eyesore, so I had to
Random
redo my
stuff,
background.
just
Well, I mean, it was
some books and
atrocious. Like,
blankets. Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah,
was just atrocious. It was just ridiculous. So I learned that one. So I cleaned up the background. I had to learn this software and platform because I was live streaming off Instagram and that was issues all the time. So
yeah.
and then it also took me to learn how to use this mic properly to get some audio good. I still have a tendency sometimes to be talking and drop the mic in the middle of my conversation because I wander with my mic a lot. And then
Mm,
when it came to posting, I had to learn how to post up on YouTube and then how to properly post up on Instagram. So it's been a long going process and lots of learning. But yeah, and that every episode I'm always learning something new. So
yeah, for sure. Um, and then I guess like how long have you been playing? I don't even know. I don't even know that
I'm
much.
going to my fourth year.
On your fourth year, hey,
Yeah.
welcome to the club.
Yeah.
I can never remember. I'm like, was that a 21 or a 22? Was I still like in my bedroom when I like figured this out? Was I locked in my bedroom and couldn't leave? Uh, but yeah, no, that's awesome. And obviously, like I'm stoked about what COVID's done for the sport and with the sport. And obviously, we've seen that kind of decrease after the huge surge from COVID. Um, but I think that decrease just comes from people realizing like, oh, I can go back to my other stuff. Um, but disc golf has already poisoned their mind, so it's okay.
Yeah. So the question is, he missed it. He was asking where you're from, so you can tell where you're from again.
Yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Uh,
So, so he's only next state down, buddy.
yeah.
The guy commenting was on last episode. He was from
Okay,
Rochester.
I gotcha. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm down and to the left, but that's still about 6 hours because I'm not from Philly.
yeah. By the way, I like that team jersey you got on.
Yeah, thank you. It's the new Great Lakes team jerseys for this year.
Yes,
Thin hoodies. I
they're
like.
amazing.
I can't put it over the headphones, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. It's a
it's
hoodie type
it's
thing.
a very big hood.
Yeah,
I was just like, these drawstrings are so long, and this hood is so big. What is going on? Like, do they want me to like grow an afro or something to like hold it up?
I had mine was a fro before I shaved my
Was
head,
it?
and it worked pretty good. It was holding up the hood pretty well, but now it's just like the hood swims over. I actually like it being like over my eyes.
Yeah. Well, and I saw the hood, and instantaneously I was just like, is is this Assassin's Creed? Am I in Assassin's Creed now?
Yeah, that's
I'm a
what I was
part of the
thinking too. I was
brother.
like, this is gonna be sweet.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, my two passions are video game and get video games and disc golf, and so that's just always where my mind goes. It's like,
Yes.
oh hey, like this would make a really good disc golf course. They're like, that is that a disc golf basket? No, that's just a trash can. Okay, never
Speaking of Assassin's Creed,
mind.
don't you have you seen Isaac Robinson's stamp on his Explorer? It looks like an
I
Assassin's Creed.
I have not actually.
Hold on, I got it. Let's see here. Hold on. Not sure if you can see that too well, but that looks like Assassin's Creed to me.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, it looks sick. Um, obviously things are a little changed, for copyright reasons.
Yeah,
I've been trying to figure out like because I think about like what I want to do for like my line of discs, when I get there, not if when. um, and I always go back to like Pokemon because I'm a Pokemon nerd, since I was young, and just you know but Pokemon's a real hard subject just because of their copyright and everything. So I'm just like, all right, how can I get around? How can I get
yeah,
around this to put it on my discs, and whatnot? So
yeah. So, final question I got for you is, where can people find you on social media to follow you?
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and I'm pretty sure that's really it. And I guess technically Facebook. Primanis. I'm sorry, Chuck. Uh, Primanis. I'm one of those firm believers, and I'm also a food snob. Primanis is very mid and overhyped. It's a good sandwich. Don't get me wrong. I love sandwiches. It's a good sandwich, but for how much everybody's like, oh, if you go to Pittsburgh, you got to go to Primanis. I'm like, you don't. There's other places you can go, and you'll be just fine. Um, but what was I saying before that?
Talking about where people can find you to follow you.
Oh yeah, right. The important part. So my handle on everything is JRobot disc. So JROBOT, and then it's usually like underscore DG or like just DG. Um, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I don't have a ton of content, out there, unfortunately, uh, but I'm striving to get more out there. But on YouTube, I have a couple, cinematic videos that I've made. As Josh mentioned, um, I have those Minecraft videos that I'm actually working on a few more like holes to go like with that. I only have the first 9 holes posted, but I've gotten a lot of other ideas from other people and like stuff that I've come up with, that I've worked on, and then I've just kind of like just taken a back burner.
All right, cool.
Would,
Well, thank you for hopping on tonight.
yeah, for sure. No, thank you so much for having me, Josh. So real quick, I want to answer Chuck. If you're into pizza, uh, I I can't I can't recommend Ironborn Pizza more. They're Detroit style pizza, but they have so many different like flavors that aren't your normal pizza flavors. Obviously, they have the normal pizza flavors, um, but one of their best ones is their like jalapeno honey pizza, and that it's so good. So yeah, give them a try if you want pizza. As for sandwiches, there's lots of like small like mom and pop shops that do it just as good as Permanis. I promise.
All right, boy. Have a good night.
Yep. All right. Thanks for having me, Josh.
Yep.
Take
See
it
ya.
easy.